Art. It can surprise us, make us feel, and make us think. I'm Amy Amanti, and I live with a profound sight loss, and I love art in all its forms. This is art form, sculpture.
It is a physical experience that is different.
It's almost a state of channeling, almost.
What I'm focused on is shapes and how the shapes go together, and colors and how the colors go together, and materials and how they go together. And it's just like, it's so much fun.
Sculpture can take many forms. They can be small or large, stationary or kinetic. Really, just about anything that presents itself in a three-dimensional space.
I describe myself as a sculptor. I have worked in other media, but sculpture is like really where my heart is.
Artist Persimmon Blackbridge.
I started doing artwork when I was, I guess, about 19 or so. I was having a breakdown, and everything was like super difficult, super painful all the time. It was like a horrible, horrible experience. At a certain point, I started using my boyfriend's carving tools, and I did, things that were proper for a girl at the time, which was like, in the 60s. I found that when I did the wood carving, like the pain of my breakdown would like stop for a little while. And so eventually I stopped having a breakdown. I came out as a lesbian. I kicked out my boyfriend and kept his carving tools, and I started doing art.
Since then, Persimmon's artwork often comments on gender, politics, and society.
That was a big part of my life, like dealing with coming out and dealing with my disabilities. It took me longer to come out about having a disability. And as a person with a learning disability, I was beaten as a child because my father's theory was that if he hit me enough, I would start doing things better. And so it took me a while first to feel safe coming out as a person with a disability, and secondly, to feel like my disabilities actually counted.
Persimmon has spent the rest of her artistic career keeping disability part of her artistic expression, including, in her more recent works, collections of doll-sized figures made from mixed media and wood to create unique bodies.
This individual piece, its body and arms and head are made from a piece of beetle kill pine. It has the kind of bluish and orangish striping that's common in beetle kill pine. It also has some holes. And then it has two pieces of driftwood for its legs, and the arms are up over the head, and the head isn't really shaped, so you can't really see the expression. This other piece, it also has a piece of beetle kill pine, but it's sanded to be super smooth. And in this one, the hips and legs are two Barbie legs that are put together, and they're rubbed with graphite, so they're kind of like a charcoal color. They're bent at the hips and the knees, so it could be a person sitting in a wheelchair. There's a thing about looking at people who are called dysfunctional, who are called broken, who are set aside as not properly functional. and representing by using objects that are cast aside as not properly functional or broken and like showing their beauty. I'm not saying that people with disabilities are junk. I'm saying that stuff that gets regarded in our consumerist society as junk and gets thrown in landfills or fills up the ocean, it's actually useful, beautiful stuff, as are we people with disabilities. Useful, beautiful, strong in ways that it's just beyond imagining.
When you're in the space, do you like feeling that silence and that focus?
Yes, I do.
Coming up on Artform, Sculpture, we meet more artists and see the fruits of their vibrant imaginations. Welcome back to Artform, Sculpture.
I started making art before I could walk. It's like breathing. It's a necessary thing.
Artist, Kat LaRondelle.
In my mid-40s, I guess I started art school because I wanted my BFA. And then this taxi happened and I got a virus and all my muscles stopped working. Everything went south.
But an artistic mind like Kat's can't be stifled, so she started working on adaptations.
Okay, so we've got the red. Where do you want to put this color?
Which is where her assistant, Stacey Carruthers, comes in.
So my role working with Kat is to be her hands. So what we do is we'll talk about a project and Kat will tell me what her vision of the project is, and then we go about creating it.
And Kat's vision is eclectic. Whether it's the giant squid wearing a top hat that sits atop her studio, or metallic wings ready to help you fly, or a wood carving of a clawed hand about to trespass through a small door, there's a sense of whimsy that permeates her work.
I think we're both really, really curious people. We love, doing a deep dive into something that's interesting. We'll be having a conversation and we'll be like, I don't know, and I don't know. So it's like, boom, rabbit hole, we go down. And Kat's just kind of really taught me to relax and to anything goes.
Some might think that the idea of an art assistant seems odd or even unusual, but according to art historian Jessa Alston O'Connor, assistants have long been a part of the art world.
A lot of people think art needs to be made only by one person, but it doesn't have to be. Within the history of painting, the master painter, and we're going back to the Renaissance, and this happens even today with painters that make huge paintings, it's quite common to have assistants. There's a long history of contemporary artists and artists in the 20th century who had teams to bring their ideas to life. So collaboration is a part of modern art history and contemporary art history. So I think it's a really empowering thing to realize that we don't have to rely only on our own physical abilities or our own skill sets to make an idea come to life. We can build really strong creative collaborations with others, and an assistant can help an artist's idea come out of their imagination and come into the physical world.
For Kat, her ideas come to life in her backyard studio, which she calls the womb.
It has something of everything in here.
So you'll find things like bicycle tires and bits of metal and just eclectic things that you find out in the world, and you bring them into this space so that you can work with them when the creative ideas come.
Kat showed me her latest piece, a skateboard deck with crow feathers.
It's an all-black skateboard deck. It's upside down. But talk to me about the feathers that are they glued down, or how are they attached?
Yeah, they're glued down.
And then on top of this layer is this sort of chaotic mess of copper wire. So if I flip it over to the front side of the skateboard deck, and I don't want to mess the wire, you've got a bunch of screws that are coming through. Can you talk a bit about the look and feel of that?
It's more steampunk. I like mixing metals to make pieces.
What does this piece convey for you? What are you trying to convey to another human?
I'm trying to convey that nothing is what it seems, and as we try and fly with whatever form that takes for us, we run into barbed wire.
When do you know the piece is done?
It tells you.
The piece tells you. So you listen to the piece and it tells you.
Kat's work is playful and surprising, and looking at a lot of her sculptures, we instantly can recognize the materials, but maybe we've never used them in that way before, or never seen them used in that way before. And I think there's something interesting about taking what is familiar and showing it to people in an entirely unexpected way. And we've seen the surrealists do that in the 1920s. We've seen assembled art throughout the 20th century that is sometimes playful and surprising, sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes humorous.
I get my ideas from a book, internet, and TV shows. My goal is to sell my art, and I name my business Master of the Art Alex.
Autistic artist Alex Lecce.
I watch shows and it gives me idea, so I drew them and paint them and mold in clay and make wooden toys of it.
Alex's characters come to life at his studio den in his apartment. He started by showing me a wooden Thomas the Tank engine.
It's a fairly small train. It's larger than a deck of cards, but it's not too much larger.
It's blue and light white, yellow, and black and red.
I'm starting to notice these themes in your work. So you do a lot of work with Thomas the Trains. You do a lot of work with King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table.
Yes, I do.
And you do a lot of work with some Disney stuff like Robin Hood and some Beatrix Potter stuff here as well.
Yes, yes, just like Robin Hood.
Now, Robin Hood here is from the classic Disney cartoon. So Robin Hood is a fox.
Yes, he is.
And he's wearing kind of his little green outfit and his hat.
The clay figure featured incredibly detailed paintwork by Alex that was faithful to the original Disney movie.
It's fun. It's fun to do.
It's fun to do. It's fun to look at. It's fun to touch. It's really very interactive, Alex.
It's very interactive.
After the break, Alex gets interactive with some fresh clay to create a Maid Marian for his Robin Hood. When we return to Artform, Sculpture. You're watching Artform, Sculpture.
So we're opening the package of clay, and it's just like a long solid brick.
Like a long solid brick.
And we've got a little paper plate here and a little cup of water.
Right.
And you're pulling out some of your little tools, your little sculpting tools.
Yes.
Autistic artist Alex Lecce was giving me a real-time demo of how he makes his palm-sized clay sculptures. This particular lump of clay was destined to become Maid Marian from Disney's animated Robin Hood.
Alex, I notice you're wearing your headphones, your noise-canceling headphones. Is that what you call them?
Yes.
And is that to help you focus?
Yes, it helps me focus.
Can I try?
Of course.
The little ball?
Of course.
So how do I do this? I just put the clay in my hands?
Yes.
Like it's almost like we're rolling cookies.
Like rolling cookies.
All right.
And you do it like this.
So we drop it and we smack it on the tabletop.
Yes, we smack it on the tabletop.
What does that do, Alex?
It makes it flat.
Alex uses warm water to give the clay some malleability and as glue when attaching pieces together. Once the base was ready, it was time to work on the rest of Maid Marian. Using his wet fingers and glancing at his sketch of the character, Alex slowly gives form to an oval chunk of clay.
So this one will probably be 3-4 inches tall when it's done?
Yes.
It's a lot of fine tuning that happens. You keep going back to the water, making the clay a little bit wet.
That's right.
The body gets placed on a stand, and then the head and the arms are next. Watching Alex work, he seems to know exactly what he wants and simply is removing the bits of clay that shouldn't be there.
You just used a tool. Can you tell me what this tool does?
I use that tool to make the fingers.
Oh, you're making the fingers.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so this is a little paw that you're making.
It's a little paw I'm making. Now we're attaching
The
that.
hand to the body? Is that what we're doing?
The arm to the body. That's right.
The arm to the body. Okay.
That's right.
So is this the other hand now? The other arm, or
Yes,
what piece are you working on now?
The other arm.
Do you ever stop in the middle of making something and take a break, or do you just make it until it's finished?
I just make it till it's finished. Perfect.
All right, Alex. So is this a done piece?
Yes, it's a done piece.
All right. So then we set it on the little paper plate, and that's where it dries
Yes, and that's where it dries.
for 5 days. And then after that, you'll paint it.
And after that, I'll paint it.
His work is, at first glance, charming and delightful. We see references to television shows and cartoons and pop culture that a lot of us grew up watching or still love watching today. So immediately there's something very familiar about his work.
Art historian Jessa Alston O'Connor.
And that reminds me of artists from the pop art movement who were looking at the world around us, the popular world around us, and bringing popular into the art world. And so I find Alex's work is charming and delightful, but also reminds me of this long thread of pop art that we've seen growing since the 1960s.
They're little pieces of folk art.
Artist Ricky Sugars also draws on pop culture for his toy art, sculptures made from discarded toys.
So Ricky, we're in your home, and we're just sort of outside in your little studio area, and you've got a couple of your toys here.
He showed me one that was both cute and menacing.
It's like a super baby.
So it's got a very traditional baby doll kind of porcelain-like
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
And then its body is sort of
Yeah.
like a transformer. It's
Yeah.
mechanical bits, and
Yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty much.
you've painted it all in like a flesh pink color.
Yeah. Well, my style, if it's in terms of classical terms, I mean, it would be like a modern abstract expressionism with sort of like a illustrative, blah, blah, blah. But I just call it scrub.
Ricky was born with an active and creative mind, but a traumatic brain injury put that in jeopardy.
It can be taxing on your emotions when you're forgetful or when you have a bad memory or expressing yourself is a hurdle. And that can really constrain and restrict somebody's success as an artist.
Among Ricky's favorite canvases are the driftwood and logs at the nearby beach. Like an artistic Santa, Ricky leaves painted gifts for the public to do as they wish. It could be a large log with painted faces.
I'm a Gemini, so I've always tried to make multiple faces in one face.
Or tiki art painted on a couple of pieces of driftwood, whose creation I observed firsthand. It starts with a base layer of water-safe paint.
It's like a bird's egg blue.
Like a bird's egg blue, kind of a iridescent kind of color.
I'm just doing all the highlights.
So you really try and pick the most, almost the boldest colors that driftwood shouldn't be in nature, right? So that they stand out on the beach.
I try to, doing this stuff is, it's so guerrilla, and it's like, it's almost like civil disobedient because you're doing something, and I think being a rebel at heart.
How do you know then when a piece is finished?
I think Picasso said, and painting's never finished, it's only abandoned.
And abandon them we did. Ricky quickly finished the illustrations, a sunset on the smaller piece and a tiki head on the larger.
Final stage of the creative process here, the most gratifying part and the part that makes it interactive.
The key, according to Ricky, is to be in and out quickly. Place the pieces on the sand, make sure they're secure and safe, and then let fate take it from there.
I think there's something really delightful and magical as we're walking along on a trail or as we're on the beach and we come across something that is made by someone and left behind.
Art historian Jessa Alston O'Connor.
So I think it's interesting how he sort of is creating and gifting, which you don't see all artists do that. So it's just adds a little bit of something unexpected when you're experiencing the city. I love that sometimes sculpture is surprising and is using materials you don't expect, or is completely abstract, and then we have to use other senses to experience it, not just our eyes and our brain. I think it's interesting to be challenged and to see people expanding what we think of as sculpture.
That means expanding our definition of artists to include creators like Alex, whose sculpts representation of pop culture.
Art means that it makes me happy, interested, and proud.
And Ricky, surprising people as they walk through their day.
I just wanted to become part of their life. I just wanted to start that, kickstart that energy.
And Persimmon, challenging our definitions of bodies and people.
I think art is an excellent tool of communication because it communicates on so many levels in so many different ways. It's really been a giant stabilizing force in my life.
And Kat, whose wild dreams are made real through the help of her assistant, Stacy.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of just doing it and stuff gets done.
I thought you thought I was nuts.
I did. I still do. I know it to be true, but that's in a good way.
Host, Amy Amanti. Producer and director, Emmett Tandon. Videographer and editor, Sergio Verabarahona. Media accessibility specialist, Simone Cupid. Audio post, Mark Phoenix. Graphics, Andrew Antonello. Senior producer, Michelle Dudas. President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright, 2021, Accessible Media, Inc.